All right, so people are upset at Deion Sanders because he's going to Colorado from Jackson State. And let me tell you something. I went to five different schools. The first school I went to was an HBCU, and this is back in the late '90s. And I'm gonna tell you what these people were doing. These people would go from school from HBTU to H, and this is the administration. They would have a whole team of them that would go from one school to the other and rip off the students. So the students at, and I was at Talladega University, and now the students start complaining. They start going to our president to represent, students and saying, why is the food so bad? And why are our conditions so bad? And we're paying, private school money. And they didn't really have an answer for us. So what happened the next year, there was a mass exodus of students. This is Talladega. It's a mass exodus of students. I ended up leaving myself. I should have went to Alabama. I registered and everything didn't go. I came back home, start working. Then, eventually I got my degree from Franklin University, a private white school. Um, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. I was on a scholarship down there, partial scholarship. They gave me a partial scholarship, and it was cool. And then it was for track, and then the money ran out. So in order to have another partial scholarship, I had to join the baseball team, and the money ran out for that. So we were like, where is all the money going? You know what I mean? Nobody can answer that. Well, they were taking it. They were taking it. So listen, HBCUs back then, I don't know what they're like now, but HBCUs is kind of a rough, it's kind of a rough ride. I don't know about Jackson State. I don't know what's going on there, but from what I heard, Coach Deion had his office broken into, and his son had his truck vandalized. So when you're looking at these type of issues, you know what I mean, you're like, it might be time for me to go. Now let's understand this. There have been plenty of people losing their life at these colleges. There have been shootings. Cheerleaders have gotten knocked off at these colleges. It's pretty bad. Let's not act like it's not bad at some of these HBCUs, because it is bad and it's getting worse. And a lot of times, it's people that's in a surrounding area. And I mean, at one time I was told, look, you don't want to go to Temple because, the surrounding area of Temple, blah, blah, blah. Well, at most universities, what surround them is usually a hood until you go out and you have to clean that hood up. And then those people prey upon the students who are, none the wiser. So I'm not saying the students at Jacksonville did this, but what I am saying is that, it wouldn't surprise me if they were. So if, unfortunately for us, black people, when you get a bunch of black people together, unfortunately for us, there is a good chance for something violent to happen. So I don't blame Coach Deion for leaving after he got robbed. And after his son got robbed, yo, you can't keep me. My son got robbed, and you think I'm gonna stay there? No. And then I heard a guy saying that, yo, Coach Dion used us for a platform to step up, and to step up, and for his resume, and we got bamboozled or whatever. And I'm just like, for wait a minute, this is Deion Sanders. Let's just step back a minute. Let's look at the coach of the Colts. That dude was a player. He was a center. If memory serves me right, he was a center. This guy's coach for the Colts now. So it's not strange for an NFL team to pick somebody who has played exceptionally. And there is nobody on the planet that can match Deion Sanders in all of what he did. As a matter of fact, he is the only person who has his numbers. Now, if you're talking about receiving numbers and stuff like that, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about collectively. Not to mention, he was playing baseball and he was playing football. Now, Bo Jackson was doing the same thing. Um, so you can look at speedsters. Deion Sanders is right up there. You can look at you know, people who were shutting down defenses, right up there. People who returned to the football, right up there. But you can't find one person besides Deion Sanders who was doing all of that. Not one. Not one person was that. Bo Jackson, as dope as he was an offensive player. That was it. Deion Sanders could play on both sides of the ball. Both sides of the ball, shut you down, outrun you. He was just so good at what he did. And you mean to tell me he needs a college that isn't even doing well? He needs to go to a college that's not doing very well at all. That's almost in obscurity. He needs to go to a college that even the football games, he's not satisfied with the reffing, and he knows something's wrong with these football games. He needs to go to a university where he puts in his own money into, and you mean to tell me that Deion was using you as a platform when nobody's paying you any mind? No coaches. Deion's giving you some of his salary. He's paying some of his salary into the school program so you guys can play football, and you mean to tell me that he's using you? Deion Sanders. I'm not talking about a no name. I'm talking about the Deion Sanders. The. There's only one person on the planet that can do everything he was doing. Only one. Everybody else was doing it in pieces. You can talk about Randy Moss all you want to. Randy Moss wasn't on the other side of the football like Deion was. Bo Jackson, not like Deion was. Devin Hester, not like Deion was. Emmett Smith, not like Deion. Nobody. There's nobody that was doing what Deion was doing and playing baseball. Nobody. Okay, Michael Vick, nope. Michael Vick wasn't on the other side of the ball. It's just you're not going to find one person that was Deion. Not to mention, Deion, when it came to the combine, he came in there, he ran a 4.1, and he kept running right into his limousine and got up out of there. You out of your mind to say that this all-time NFL great needed a school that is almost in obscurity. You crazier than a fish. That don't need you. He don't need none of us. He doesn't need none of us. And listen, I believe if Deion wanted to be a coach, or especially a defensive coach, if he wanted it, the way these teams are struggling in the NFL, I don't even watch the NFL. But you mean to tell me Deion couldn't step on Jacksonville Jaguars? He couldn't make a phone call to Jacksonville Jaguars and say, I want to be a defensive back coach on your squad. What do you got? What do you got? I want to be. And you mean to tell me they wouldn't go? Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll squeeze you on in here. We're not even going to get rid of our other coaches. You just come on in and you use your influence and your know-how, because nobody was running a 4.1 on both sides of the ball. Nobody. Deion even said, if anybody my age wants to race me, I'll still race him and I'll beat him. Nah, you guys are silly. And I would have left your black asses real quick. As soon as I walked in that office and saw all my stuff all over the place, I would have been out. Those games were being thrown. The games were being messed up. Everything is just shoddy. And because it's so shoddy and you're such a professional, this isn't some guy off the street. This is a multi-millionaire in the Hall of Fame. Okay, who could have went and just decided, you know what, I'm just going to do Bullet Bob Hayes. For those of you who even know who he is, Bullet Bob Hayes is the only person in the NFL who won a Super Bowl, and he was number one in track. He ran the 100. He was a wide receiver, and he won the Olympics. He's the only man to ever do it. His name was Bullet Bob Hayes. When they're talking about who is the fastest person, you have to bring him up. So, Deion could have just went Bullet Bob Hayes on everybody and said, you know what, I'm gonna play, football, and then I'm gonna run track. He was running a 4-1. He was running a 4-1. Listen, when Deion was playing, there was only one other person who could keep up with him. There was only one other person who could keep up with him, and I might say two. So you might go Randy Moss, and the other person was Darrell Green. Darrell Green was allegedly the fastest man in football, actually almost ever. I mean, you got Bo Jackson, but I think Deion was faster than Bo Jackson. I don't know. I'm not sure. Hey, what's going on? I think Deion was faster than Bo Jackson, but I don't know. But you had Randy Moss, you had, Bo Jackson, and you had Darrell Green, and I don't think anybody was faster than Darrell Green. Darrell Green was only on one side of the ball. He was a defensive end. And his most notorious play is when he tracked down Eric Dickerson in a game from behind. And Deion could keep up with all of these people. So Deion doesn't need anybody. Deion can sit back and, enjoy his royalties. He doesn't need anyone. I just wanted to, put my little 2 cents in it because I went to an HBCU and I know how raggedy they can be. Now, I'm hoping they got better now. This is 30 years ago. I'm hoping it was when I was 27. So, yeah, 25 years ago. And I'm hoping that they're better now. But HBCUs, man, they can be raggedy. They don't have the same budget. Let me get you guys to understand this. An HBCU gets their money. Some of them are staying afloat simply off of government grants. Okay? Especially if it's a historical HBCU. Like the one I went to with Talladega was built by slaves. Okay? Talladega was built by slaves. When you walk into Talladega University's library, if you look up at the doorway, you'll see a whole mural of Amistad. So Talladega was built by slaves, and this is why they get money from the government. But that money was going out the door, it wasn't going to the students. And this is why a bunch of students just got up and left all at once. Including myself. I was like, this is for the birds. Something's not right. You guys can't even afford a track team anymore. And I left. I left Talladega because of that. The coach was like, there's no more room for track. Let me get you to understand our track program. We didn't even have a track. We were running up and down on the streets. We had to go to the local college and a local high school and borrow their track. And it was a concrete track. Like you can't even wear spikes on that. Oh my God, shin splints all day. That's the track that we were running on. We borrowed a high school's track. We had no track whatsoever. We had one van where they piled all of us up and we would drive all over the place. We even competed at FAMU. I remember that race going way down there to FAMU, and it was just beautiful. Just a beautiful university. And there were thousands of us there. There were thousands of people there for that track meet. And here we are pulling up in a van. Hey, a little rinky-dink van, and y'all can't afford that? No, get out of here. Get out of here. I don't blame Coach Deion. I think he did right. I think he did what's good for him and his family. And I think anybody who wants to question him is out of their mind because there's nobody like Deion Sanders. And truthfully, I think Deion Sanders should look at what these people are saying about him. And these people are complaining, and I don't think he should ever come back to a black school again. because they're stabbing him in the back right now, and they're trying to say Deion Sanders did them wrong, and trying to say that he tried, he's doing some shucking and jiving, he's doing them in some kind of dirty way. And now, no, you wanted the man to stay at your school while you guys rob him, while you guys take his money, while his son is in danger, and you wanted him to just sit back and go through all of this. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You robbed my child. My child comes outside and looks at his vehicle and it's in shambles. And you want me? Hell no, I'm leaving. And listen, this is a common theme where people take other people for granted and they don't realize what they have. And everybody knows somebody who's done this. And it could be you. We have somebody in our life that, they could do better. They don't have to, but they want to be around us, and they make us look better. Like we're better because of them, and then we treat them like, hey, what's going on? We treat them like we're doing them a favor, but they're the ones who's really doing us a favor. But we know this. And we're like, you're going to keep here, staying here with me, and I'm going to abuse you, and you're going to stay right here. And it's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And then they get up and bounce, and you're like, you wasn't about nothing anyway. Man, please. Some girlfriend you done had, or some guy friend you done had, or some homeboy or homegirl, auntie, somebody in your life was good to you, and you treated them like trash, and then they showed you what it really was. It was like, I was never here because of me. I was here because of you, and now I'm leaving, and now you want to dog them out and treat them like nothing. Nah, Deion. I say, Deion, I don't even watch football. Shoot, I might watch Colorado now. I ain't watched Colorado. Let me tell you something. I ain't seen a Colorado game since they shoot almost 20 years when Colorado won. Don't they wear black, and isn't their color black and so? I might tune into some football now. I don't even watch it, but Colorado has, what was the color? Black and something. Shoot, I might check them white boys out. Black and something. Black and yellow, ain't it? Shoot, let me look this up. Color. I gotta watch these up. What I'm seeing in the CCCC. People often confuse a favor with an 100% Terminator. I'm like, you guys were in obscurity. Nobody was paying Jackson State any mind. You guys, you don't even understand the magnitude of having a Deion Sanders. You don't understand. This dude was bringing YouTube attention to you. He was bringing, and here's how Jackson State just lost. Yeah, that's me. Here's how Jackson State just lost, and I don't even think they realize it. Here's how they just lost. Because Deion Sanders was at your school, other D1 players, big 6'8", 330 pounders, 15, 16 years old, was looking at playing for your school because Deion was there. Other than that, they're like, I can go to Ohio State. I can go to Michigan State. Hell, I can go to Michigan. But I don't like, I can go to Michigan. I don't have to, Jacksonville State. What conference are you guys in? Like, what? You know what? I can just go ahead and go to Florida State. I can play for the Seminoles. Yeah, he did right. He did damn right. Like, you guys don't even understand that, these kids can just, they're getting, let me explain this to you. When I was in high school, I played football. I had one really good game. I was a decent player, but I wasn't great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope he all his money. I was a decent player, but one day they put me at nose guard, and it was the best game of my life. It's the only time I played. Well, the second I played nose guard the next game, but that team picked up on me. But it was the biggest, one of the biggest games our high school had, and I didn't even know that I was being scouted. I had no idea. I got in there, all 85 pounds, up against the nose. Nose is probably 250, whatever. Uh, Nose tackle guard, you know the deal. I'm looking the nose right in the face. I'm looking at the pigskin, and I waited for the count. And I would listen very, very well for the count and watch the ball. And when that ball snapped, I faded one way, went the other, and I was in the backfield. 8 consecutive times, I was the first person to hit somebody. Either it was the quarterback or it was a running back, and it was usually the running back whose name was Mike Potter coming out of the back. Well, not Mike Potter, but it was shoot, Mike Potter played for Riverside. Anyways, the point is, I broke a high school record because I was the first person to the ball. And I didn't think nothing of it until my coach said something. He's like, "You broke a high school record because you were the first person to the ball 8 consecutive times." I didn't know until the next practice day. That, nah, he ain't playing. So the next game, they lined me up as nose guard, but it was scouted. Boom, they shut me down. There were two people on me, which left another man open. But our coach, who played for Miami, NFL, he was like, "You don't want to play?" I was like, "They're double teaming me. Like, it's your responsibility. If they're double teaming me, then get somebody in there, a defensive guard or something." But nonetheless, a couple weeks later, I get two letters to come to my house. One of them was for Slippery Rock. They wanted me to play football for them. Slippery Rock is D2. The other one was for Penn State. They wanted me to play football for them. Penn State is D1. Now, if I got a letter like that, and I was a decent player, but if I got a letter like that, some of these kids today, yeah, Penn ain't no joke. And the reason why I didn't want to go to Penn is because I had a bad habit of people. And at one point in the when I was in the 8th grade, I spearheaded Brian Chismar right off the line. We were on the same team, but we were at practice. He was in the 10th grade. I was in the 8th grade. And he hit me helmet to helmet, and my head started ringing. So I knew if I played for Penn State, I was going to be one of these people who had CTE. I just knew it was coming. I knew a concussion was coming. So I backed out of football. But I got a letter to go to Penn State. You know what I'm saying? I was 6'2", 185, but I was quick. I was quick off the ball. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was quick off the ball. And I was pretty decent in a four instead of a three stance, which is two legs and one hand down. I would line up in four. I would line up with all fours down. I would look at the ball. I would listen to the count, and as soon as the ball moved, I would do a swim move and get right past. I get right past that nose guard, so it was nothing. But what I'm saying is, I was just an okay player. This, not a big deal. But some of these kids right now are doing phenomenal things, and you think that they would go to the biggest school, but no, because Deion Sanders was for Jackson State, they were looking at playing for Deion because they wanted to be coached by Deion. That is a big, big, big deal. Let's just say that I went to Penn State and I didn't have no fear of CTE. And I went, they bulked me up, I'd have probably been fourth string or whatever. I'm 6'2", so you can put a lot on my frame. I get bumped up to 225, 235. They put me in the back playing linebacker or something like that. And boom, I'm stuffing people. Bam, boom, bam. I do 4 years of that, get my degree, and Pittsburgh Steelers right there. My hometown. You think I couldn't have walked on? I could have walked on Pittsburgh Steelers and tried out for them after high school. You could walk right up there and try out for Pittsburgh right after high school. Except I knew I would have got stepped on. It would have been terrible. It would have been terrible. I knew I'd get crap. But nonetheless, you're at Penn State for 4 years. You're learning the game from Joe Pa. You know what I'm saying? From Joe, regardless of what anybody says, Joe was a great coach. But you learned from Joe Pa. You think I wouldn't have came out swole, 250, 260, smacking offensive player? You think, man, please. Coming off the ball at what? Running a 4.5 in the combine? You think that wouldn't have happened? It would have happened. I could have went right to the Steelers and played third string, second string, and would have been okay, and would have had me, would have went and probably played 4 or 5 years, ended up on the Raiders, and then I'm out like everybody else. I'm just saying, when you go to these universities, you have a better chance of, if you want to forward your career and play for the NFL. Depends on what university you go to and who's looking at you, because these coaches and these owners are always scouting. Listen, scouting doesn't start in college. Hella smart. Yeah, scouting doesn't start in college. Scouting starts in middle school. Listen, LeBron James' son was scouted at 12 years old. 12 years old, they were trying to get him to sign. That's what I'm saying. They start scouting you in middle school because they can see how fast or how strong they can make you. Man, it just saddens my heart that Deion Sanders couldn't stay there. Yeah, it's all technology. The minute that you step onto a football field, a baseball field, I don't care if it's rowing, I don't care if it's badminton. If you have a coach, that coach knows the science. And they can tell if you have the muscle memory or if you can build that muscle memory. They can tell who can take instructions. They can tell by your bone structure, by the way you move your head back and forth. It is a big deal. Everything you do starts with your head. And they can look at your head and tell if you're gonna be quick off the ball, slow off the ball. Yeah, you was a runner. Yeah, there you go. Home run hitter. There it is. They can tell if you're gonna be quick off the ball, slow off the ball, and they can tell if you're gonna get beat. They can tell if you're gonna get beat. I'll give you an example. Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is the coach for Ohio State. Urban Meyer used to be the coach for who? Florida. He used to be the coach for Florida, where Tebow was at. And what happened? Ohio State had to go down to Florida and play them in a national championship. And they got cooked. And the reason why they got cooked is because Florida was so much faster than them. You get these big corn-fed guys up here. I've talked to one of them, and he was black. He was unbelievably big. I was like, you got to play for Ohio State. I was on Ohio State when I saw him. I said, you play ball? He was like, yeah. I mean, he was huge. He was huge. He was a junior high teacher, aide, and PE. I could play everything. Corn-fed girl. Yeah. You know the deal. But the thing about being, corn-fed like that, you're not exactly the fastest person, but you're the strongest person. Well, Urban Meyer just played to their weakness. He said these guys are strong, but they're not fast. And he just obliterated Ohio State. He made those people cry. And then what happened after that? 2 years later, guess who he was a coach for? Ohio State, and he's still there now. They got rid of Jim Tressel, and boom, Urban Meyer's there now. And they got rid of Jim Tressel with some BS. You was fast though, but yeah, you're not 330, 40 pounds though. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not 340. As a matter of fact, I mean, if you really want to understand what I'm saying, tell me how. Okay, for one, tell me the event that you were in, and then tell me the times that you ran, and then tell me how much you weighed, and then you can break down. Because especially if it's track, I could break it down for even girls track. As a matter of fact, I watch women's track now more than I watch men's track. Ever since Usain Bolt left, I haven't really been interested in men's track, but I'm interested in women's track uh, because one, Shakari Richardson, uh, two, just the Jamaican three, and even other runners like Talu and Ahorgu, and some other American runners, T.T. Terry. I'm interested in seeing them because they're fresh. They're fresh out of college. Kayla White, all these, they were competing against each other, but now they're running professionally. But Shakari Richardson has brought so much attention to the American runners because she's the sixth fastest person ever to run the 100, in the women's 100, and at one point she ran into the 10 sevens, and her coach said she could run 10 6. You're 5'4", turn turn 5'9" at 17. That's a decent height. My teacher was looking at me from. I love Shakira too. She hurts a little bit, but she's gonna be all right. Yeah, but you're not telling me how much you weighed, and you're not telling me what event you. Yeah, you're not telling me what event you ran because I'm slow. I've always been slow. People used to tease me because I ran slow. All through high school, I was slow. I mean, I just sucked. My fastest 100 is a 12:1. I mean, I'm slow. I'm just a slow person. However, when it came to the 800, I was running 207s. My fastest 800 is 201, which is half decent. My fastest mile is on the road. I ran a 455. On track, this is a 1600. I ran a 440, and I ran like a 436 or something like that. And the fastest 1500, I ran a 426. So I was pretty decent at running middle distance. But when it came to just flat out speed, my fastest time was 24 seconds in the two. I mean, I was in high school. I mean, I was just getting dusted. But our fastest guy was only running 22s. But still, those 2 seconds, I was getting dusted. But like I said, Deion, I feel bad for Deion. I wish I had his number. I'd call him and say, keep your head up. And don't ever go back to a black school. And as far as his kids, if they grow up and want to, I mean, they're grown up, but I would tell them don't even go to HBCUs. Don't even go. He was 135, 5'4", 155. Okay, 155 and a what? At 17. I also was in marching band, so my legs were nice. Your legs are probably still nice doing all that marching around. Yeah, I can't read music to save my life. He was 135 at 5'4". Yeah, okay. You still ain't tell me what event you. So you didn't run an event. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for your times and your events. But yeah, I like Shakari with her little sexy self. She finally got away from Janique Brown and their little love relationship, or whatever weird. Oh, he pulled you out. Yeah. her and Janique Brown, and their little weird gay, sex, whatever they're doing. Like, cut that out. Like, cut that out. But I love the American. I love the American teams that they have. They beat the Jamaicans in the relays. The American women, they beat them in the relays. They beat their star-studded team too. They kicked her behind. But one of the reasons why they beat them is because Abby Steiner finally decided to go pro. And Abby Steiner is the fastest woman in collegiate history in the 200. There's nobody faster than her in the 200. Her fastest time is 21:77. She also ran a 21:80. So nobody's beat her in the 200 collegiately. And not even Sha'Carri Richardson. Sha'Carri Richardson's fastest time in college was 10:74. She ran a 10:74 where she beat, she beat a whole slew of people in that race. But who she was up against was the girl from Texas who was with her all the way up until about the 80, and then, Sha'Carri knee lift just carried her on through, and it was over. She was running against, it's not Angie Mellis, but Angie Mellis was there. And that same day, Angie Mellis, I think she ran for USC, beat Sha'Carri in the 200 by a nose, like literally. That was a damn good race, damn good. Justin Gatlin said Sha'Carri can run. Yeah, Justin is her coach. Yeah. Yeah. I believe it. We watched her running the 10.6s, and she was, like, pissed off. If they would have let Sha'Carri go to Japan, she would have won. She would have done it. Well, yeah, she lost a step. She was out for a month. She came back. She ran against the fastest women in the world, and she still ran an 11:14, and people are like, oh, she sucks. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to run at 11.14 as a female, as a man? As a man. Okay, you ran 11.14. As a man, most men can't do that. And this woman, on an off day, hasn't ran in a month competitively, came out and ran 11.14. No, I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all. Because that is still screaming for vengeance. That's fast. She got embarrassed. It hurt a little bit. But, well, this is track and field. If you're not competing, then your fast twitch muscles are not adjusting to everyone else. Yeah, she ran well in the rain. She was still able to knock down, 10s. She's still in the 10 range. But is she going to run a 10.6 anytime soon? Here's the thing, though. Sha'Carri gained weight. She got big. She's muscular. So she even runs funnier now. She's not as light on her feet as she used to. So I think what happened to Sha'Carri, I think the same thing, like, yeah, she's bigger now. She's more muscular. She even runs like a bodybuilder. And I think Sha'Carri is, the thing about her is, like, she doesn't have the quickness that she used to have. She's not as quick. And her top end speed is really what it was. She had great closing speed. And that's all changed because she's got a few pounds on her. But here's what I think. I think because she was off for that month, you know what I mean, it's going to have an Abby Steiner effect. Abby was off for a whole year with an injury to her leg and came back, and she ran 67 races. That's more than anybody has ever done. 67 races. So I think that Sha'Carri Richardson next year, or this track year, I think she's going to go into the 10.6s. I think she will. I don't have no doubt about that whatsoever. Yeah, Shakari's right out of college. She's still young. I mean, she got all that fanfare and attention at 19 years old. 19. And then her mom passed away. I mean, she's going through it. I mean, and listen, if you look at a lot of those other runners, nobody except, and I don't even want to say her. The only person that was getting close to that much of attention was a Thing Mo, who ran the 800 and hasn't been beat collegiately. She hasn't been beat in the. She hasn't been beat since she was in college, and nobody's beat her. One chick has come close when they both ran a 155, but that's it. I think Mo, if you're not running under 155, you can forget it, and that's it. So she's smoking everybody. So she has. I mean, plus she's an Olympic gold, medalist. So she's got that going on, but she still didn't have the expectation as Sha'Carri Richardson because the 800 is not as popular as the 100. The 100 is always going to be the most popular race. Who's the fastest person in the world? And another thing about Sha'Carri Richardson. I mean, we're way off topic of Deion Sanders, but another thing about Sha'Carri Richardson. Okay. So let's look at the 100 and look at during that time how many people were running these times that were the threat. This is the big thing. It's the threat of beating Flojo's time. So the Jamaicans, Elaine Thompson, beat Flojo's Olympic time, but she hasn't beat her fastest time. So Elaine Thompson, when she ran against Sakari that day, she ran a 10.5 something. So she ran in a 10.61, right? She still hasn't beat Flojo's best time. That's what the big thing is. People are looking at evolution is what's happening. They're like, who can beat Flojo's time? And that's why it was so hyped in NBC and all those. Yeah, Flojo, I'm gonna get some pizza. Okay, get some pizza. But that's why Sha'Carri everybody was concentrating on her so much, is because they were like, can Sha'Carri beat Flojo's time? And that's what everybody's looking for. Who can beat Flojo's time? And of course, the Americans want to be the first to brag about beating Flojo's time. And that's why they're always going up against, the Jamaicans, because they're just naturally fast people. But when you look at going 10.7, there was only about 5 women last year who ran in the 10.7s. And one was Sha'Carri Richardson. The other one was Elaine Thompson. The other one was her label mate partner, the Pocket Rocket. Old girl that's her name is it'll come to me. The other one was Sharika Jackson. I don't know if Sharika Jackson ran that fast in 100, but I think she was close. And then you had the African. There was an African girl who did it. She ran 10.65 or something like that. But when she did it, they found out that she was using drugs. She beat everybody so bad that it wasn't even close to being competitive. And when you see that race and you're looking at her, you're like, we've been watching you for 10 years. You never ran that fast. And sure enough, they banned her because they found out she was drugs. Drugs will make you faster. There's just no doubt about it. So, yeah, they banned her, and I can see her face, but I can't remember her name either. Yeah. So that's why Sha'Carri had so much pressure upon her. I think old girl left. I don't know who's still here, but yeah, I'm just talking about sports. And the sports that I watch. I watch track and field. I don't watch football, but I'm going to definitely tune into Colorado now. I'm a fan of speed. I'm going to see what Deion's going to do. Hell. mess with Deion Sanders as much as he done did for football. How many teams he played for? Last team he played for was the Ravens. How many teams did Deion play for? Played for the Ravens. He played for Dallas. Oh yeah, he played for four. Let's see. He was the Ravens, Dallas, San Francisco. Who was the other one? Dallas, San Francisco, the Ravens. What was the fourth team? Oh, the Falcons. Yeah, he played for the Falcons. Yeah, four teams. Yeah, we'll see. But the thing about Colorado was that deal. Hold on a second. 5 teams? Who else was it? Only had 3 teams. Who else was it? Look. As soon as you look up Deion Sanders in Colorado, you know what it reads? Deion Sanders slingshots Colorado national recruiting. See, you do not mess with talent. You do not piss off talent. Look, whoever broke into Deion Sanders' office, they should have kicked those dudes behind. They should have beat their ass because they just cost them a lot. The Cowboys, Redskins, all the Redskins. Yeah. Yeah, because they just cost you a lot of money. Look. Deion Sanders slingshots Colorado to national recruiting. Just by being there. He ain't coached the game. Just being there. Boom. Just by being there. I'm here. I'm your coach. Now you got these D1s, these D1 white boys, instead of playing for, you know what I'm saying, instead of going to Boise, you know what I'm saying, they're like, shoot, I'm not going to play for Boise. I'm going over here to play for Colorado. Colorado, what? Colorado's D2, right? Let's look it up. I'm happy for my boy. People don't realize that Colorado was a good. Yes, it was 20 years ago. That's the last they D1. Okay, that was the last time I watched them when they won a national championship. That was the last time I watched them. It was 20 years ago. I was like, wait a minute, he went to Colorado? Let's go, Colorado. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to watch some of that. Boy, they messed up big time. Because he could have brought money. He could have brought so much money to Jacksonville. And the thing about it is, they didn't win a championship, but ranked. No, they didn't win a championship. I thought they won a championship. All I know is I seen them win a great game. Okay, you know better than me. I'm not an aficionado. I'm not an aficionado. I'll take your word for it. But they did something I liked. And I was like, look at Colorado. They beat somebody they wasn't supposed to beat. That's what it was. They kicked the crap out of somebody they wasn't supposed to be. Some big team, you know what I'm saying, Georgetown or something, I don't know. They kicked the crap out of somebody. And I was like, yeah, look at this. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The thing about Deion Sanders being there, not only was he helping that black college, not only was he helping that black college, but he was helping all black colleges. All black colleges. Just because he's there. All black colleges that played football. All of them. Now, more kids want to join those black colleges. They beat Nebraska. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, that was the game. Beat the Cornhuskers. Kicked the crap out of them. But that's the thing. When you have a dynamite coach, it's like, oh, you guys got a good coach. You guys put $1.5 million behind a coach. We're gonna have to do the same thing, or else you're just gonna slaughter. You're just gonna get wiped off the floor because the coach is so good. Urban Meyer, when he was at Florida State, he he wiped the floor with Ohio State, and then 2 years later, Urban Meyer is on Ohio State because Ohio State was like, "You just kicked the crap out of us." Yeah, they're gonna get the players now. They're gonna get the players now. Not only that, the NFL is gonna follow that. You don't think the NFL was looking at Jacksonville State? Oh yeah, yeah, he was a Florida Gator. Yeah, the NFL was looking at Jacksonville State. Now you're going to have some no-name coach. I was being looked at because of who our coach was. My coach's name was Max. He played for the Dolphins. This is when I was in high school. Big-ass white dude. His name was Max. He played for the Dolphins. I don't know what his last name was. Let me see if I can look him up. I forgot what his last name was. You know what? I'm not even going to find it. Prime went on to another college and yeah, he went on to Colorado, and he should have. And he should never dork in the door of any of those ragged HBCUs again because they was treating him wrong. They was treating him bad. And they thought that he had to take it. He's like, I don't have to put up with you. I'm Prime. Let me go call up Jerry Jones. See what the Cowboys are doing. Let me go get on America's team. Let me just, you know what, Jerry? Just make me a second string coach. Let me coach your third stringers, your defensive backs. Let me coach them. Pay me, I don't know. What your defensive back coaches make? Just give me. You know what I'm saying? Give me a fraction of that. That's all you had to do. Give me a fraction of that. Jerry Jones would have been like, done. Next thing you know, some third stringer would have been in over a first stringer in the next Dallas game, and everybody would have knew his name. When you're dealing with somebody who could run a 4.1, that's the name of the game now, ain't it? Speed's the name of the game now. Look at that. Look at the dude who played for, who's he play for now? The fastest dude, the Cheetah. Who's he play? He got traded. Who's he play for, Miami now? Who's he play for? He was on Kansas City. You see how they were destroying everybody? And then Patrick Mahomes runs backwards. Patrick Mahomes ran backwards in the Super Bowl. That was it. That was the last straw for me. That was the last straw for me. I was actually finished when Peyton Manning won his last Super Bowl. I was like, this is fixed. I was finished. I was like, y'all did that just for him. Like, get out of here. The Legion of Boom made Peyton Manning look like a rookie. The Seahawks made Peyton Manning look like a rookie. They beat the square pants off of those dudes so bad that the defensive player was just sitting on a bench while all the fanfare was going up. He couldn't believe how bad they lost. Peyton Manning had to go to his players when he played for the Broncos. He had to go to his offense of players, especially the receivers. And Peyton Manning said, "You guys don't want to play?" Nothing they could do. The Legion of Boom was cracking their skulls. Those are some good games. All right, man, I'm going to go on and get up out of here. You take it easy, my guy.